More months, more games. June is coming up. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, the top 10 new games of June 2019. Number 10 is Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, a game led by the former producer on the Castlevania series, Koji Igarashi, who left Konami in 2014 and wanted to make a new Metroidvania. Now, the expectation for this game is that it is a little bit more along the lines of Symphony of the Night. It's certainly different looking, it's got a lot more color than the old school Castlevania games, and even more color than as it was sold on Kickstarter. There has been a lot of development on the look of this game, and frankly it shows. It's a very polished looking game, and as a big fan of this genre, who's played a lot of more recent games that have attempted to do this, I kind of just want somebody to do Castlevania, and I'm excited for that to happen. I'm sure it will have its own identity, but frankly the gameplay of Castlevania, that's where it's at for me. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is coming to Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on the 18th of June, and Nintendo Switch on the 25th. Number 9 is Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth, which functions as a sequel obviously to Persona Q, and it will be the same type of dungeon crawler RPG hybrid, which again takes characters from the Persona games, namely Persona 3, Persona 4, and Persona 5 here, to make a sort of side story, as well as give an opportunity to play as these characters some more. The game is focusing primarily on the Persona 5 cast in order for narrative expedience, and the game itself came out last year in Japan in November, and they've been working on localizing it here in the US. The concept puts these characters inside a film being projected in a theater, which eventually allows them to actually jump between films, obviously acting as the various different dungeons in the game. I think this is going to be good. I liked the original, but then again, I can kind of never get enough of Persona. Persona Q2 is coming out on Nintendo 3DS June 4th. Number 8 is Octopath Traveler, which is coming to the PC, previously exclusive to Nintendo Switch. Let's just go ahead and say this game is great. I did the Before You Buy on this channel, and although after having beaten the game, I'm a little more tepid about the story itself. It doesn't do as much as it could have in bringing everyone together, but that's a very minor complaint, because this is a game with 8 different stories that maybe don't intertwine enough, provide you with a lot of very fun gameplay. You could in some ways even say it's kind of like 8 different JRPG stories that you can play with a sort of custom roster of characters to get through it with. It is by far one of the best battle systems in a turn-based JRPG I've seen in a while, and I easily spent a ton of time inside this game. I will happily play it again upon its release on PC. It's a game that I think scratches a nostalgia itch and also functions as a major upgrade to a genre that needs more attention. Octopath Traveler is coming to the PC on June 7th. Number 7 is F1 2019, the 12th title in the Codemasters F1 series. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the trailer that they've recently released for the launch of it is mainly centered around new cars and locations rather than new features, so I have a feeling we kind of know what we're getting based on F1 2018. That being said, 2018's career mode was completely revamped. It was a lot of big changes, so I'm not really 100% sure a lot of people really expected a massive upheaval for 2019. That being said, it was a very well-reviewed game. Gamers also liked it, and to see the incremental release that brings us a lot of new content rather than a lot of new mechanics, I am happy for. I like this series, and I think that this is going to work out well. Is there a showstopper? I don't know. There may be, but I think we'll have to play the actual game to answer that type of a thing. F1 2019 is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on June 28th. Number 6 is Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, the remake of the Crash Team Racing from way back in the day when kart games were the new in vogue thing and every mascot was trying to get in on them. Because that was kind of a thing going on when this game came out, I feel like this game didn't get the kind of attention it deserved. It is frankly a really enjoyable game. I've always enjoyed Crash Team Racing. I've really been looking forward to this remake, as it is adding some content from the indirect sequels Crash Nitro Kart and Crash Tag Team Racing. Now, it is important to note that there's not really an expectation of a lot of new stuff. It is a full-on remake, and from the looks of it, seems to be a very well done remake. I've yet to be able to get my hands on it, but I will say, aside from the big graphics upgrade, really all they need to do is preserve the controls. They're good controls. I have a feeling that's the case here. My hope, honestly, is that it spawns a return of the series. This was a fun racing game, and honestly, it would be nice to see more of them. Crash Team Racing is coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on June 21st. Number 5 is Samurai Shodown, which is a reboot of a classic fighting franchise, which, as you know, can go very badly, but in all honesty, this looks like it's shaping up to be something pretty good. From what I've observed of the footage, I haven't been able to play, but it really reminds me of the old games. It's a weapons-based fighter, obviously one-on-one. This version of it intends to sort of move towards the esports scene, and kind of the big draw to Samurai Shodown from that respect is probably the big moves. The tide can turn very easily, and it's really leaning into that from what I've seen. It's also touting a machine learning feature that basically observes your fighting style and allows you to upload kind of an AI duplicate of yourself to the internet to fight other people in various online modes. I think that's super interesting, and I really want to see how it plays out. It looks great. I love the style that they've chosen for it, and I'm pretty excited to play it. Samurai Shodown is coming to PS4 and Xbox on June 27th, and then later in the year to Nintendo Switch and Microsoft Windows. Number 4 is The Sinking City, an action-adventure mystery horror game, which originally started out specifically as a telling of the H.P. Lovecraft story. Now, the Call of Cthulhu game itself was actually a bit underwhelming. This was originally going to be that, and the publisher kind of decided they wanted to go a different direction, and we got the other one. This one I actually have a little more hope in, though. There's a variety of interesting techniques that they've used to create the city, which the city will flood to varying degrees at different points in the game. There's an investigative system, so I expect this may come out a little bit like a supernatural LA Noire, which, considering the environmental hazard of flooding, sounds really interesting to me. And the trailers are really well made. They create a sense of existential dread that should be present in a Lovecraft-oriented work, while at the same time looking like something possibly somewhat new, and that's really important right now. The Sinking City is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows June 27th. Number 3 is Judgment, which is kind of a spin-off of the Yakuza series. It comes to us from the same minds, and uses the same engine and even the same fighting system from Yakuza 0. However, it adds an investigation system that I think makes the idea sound worthwhile at very least. It's set in the same world as Yakuza, the same timeline, same canon, whatever you want to say. However, it follows a private detective around who's investigating serial murders. I think that really sounds like a worthwhile setting for a game in the style of Yakuza, and I'm really excited to play this. It's been out in Japan for a while, and has gotten good input other than the controversy that was caused by one of the actors getting arrested for cocaine possession, but that's not something that really concerns me a whole lot. I'm just ready for more action like this. Judgment comes to the PlayStation 4 on June 25th. Number 2 is The Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr, which promises to bring dragons back to Tamriel. It takes place in the Khajiit homeland of Elsweyr, of course, and brings a lot of pretty serious stuff into the game. Elsweyr brings in a new necromancer class, which will allow people to summon the undead, and a lot of the mystery will revolve around finding out why dragons are back and causing a bunch of havoc. Honestly, if you've ever seen the Khajiit in the Elder Scrolls games, this seems like something you'd really like to do. I personally enjoy the idea of going further into Elsweyr, learning more about them, and Elder Scrolls Online has really turned out to be quite a worthwhile contribution to the series. Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr is coming to PS4 and Xbox One and PC on June 4th. And finally, number 1 is Super Mario Maker 2, which, let's go ahead and say, for a lot of people is the main event this upcoming month. Super Mario Maker was awesome. It's basically like the best thing. It lets you make Mario levels and play them in any style of Mario game, from the original game to Mario 3 to 3D World. Which is really interesting because although those levels are going to be in 2D, they will bring some features from that game that won't be available in the other games, meaning you can design levels that only work in the 3D World framework. Obviously, you can't play them like Super Mario Odyssey or any of the other fully 3D titles because you're designing 2D levels, but still. Large additions to the game include a story mode, which includes 100 original courses, and online multiplayer, which is something I think is great. But let's just go ahead and say the reason I'm excited for this is because I love Mario Maker, and on the Switch, it's literally perfect. There's no better platform for platform making. A little game console with a touchscreen. It's literally perfect, and I can't wait to play it. Super Mario Maker 2 is coming to the Switch on June 28th. Couple of quick bonuses for you, the first being Warhammer Chaosbane, an action RPG dungeon crawler that looks to fill the hole of a new Diablo, at least on any platform where a new Diablo would matter, and from the looks of it, seems to be exactly what the doctor ordered. I'm pretty much always here for a hack and slash dungeon crawler when it's done well, and especially with the kind of drought of that going on right now, Chaosbane looks like a really welcome entry to the genre. As a bonus, it's got both couch and multiplayer co-op that you can actually intermingle however you want. You can play 2 players here and 2 there, all together at once. Sounds great to me. And Warhammer Chaosbane comes to PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on June 4th. And finally is Trover Saves the Universe, which, let's just go ahead and say, depends really heavily on how much you like Rick and Morty's humor. If you do like Rick and Morty's humor, I can't imagine you not liking Trover Saves the Universe. It's like a good platformer with tons of that humor, because it was made by the creators of that show, and somehow is miraculously also a good platformer. It's not massively long or anything like that, but it absolutely seems to harness why Justin Roiland is good at what he does without just being a dumb cash-in video game, and that's basically the thing that matters here. And if you don't have VR, that's fine. You can play through the game without the VR, though it is, for certain, very much a VR game. It's actually coming out on May 31st this month on PS4 and PSVR, but you'll want to look out for it in June on Steam and the Epic Games Store when it's hitting on the 4th. What games are you looking forward to most this upcoming month? It's a pretty big slate, and I'm excited for quite a few of the releases. Leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking though. If you like this video, click like, and if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So please click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.